This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
So we're taking tax refunds and we're putting them into 401k accounts. Lilipad is a platform that increases 401k contributions by unlocking tax refunds. So this is a B2B product that we're aiming at 401k providers. So the tax refund sucks. People get the big check at the end of the year and they go off and spend it. And most people actually know that they're supposed to do something better with it. They want to save it. They want to do something better with it. And Lilipad is a platform to help them do that. So 401k providers have limited ways of increasing contributions to 401k accounts by employees. At the same time, we found that employees are locked into tax refunds. On average, the average American gets a $2,800 per year tax refund. So these earnings, when you get the big check, you can't actually invest it directly into a 401k account. You have to do it through payroll deductions. So per pay period, when you get your paycheck, that's how you have to put money into the 401k account. To give you an idea about how big of a problem this is, the $2,800 refund, that's the average refund that most people get, could be worth about $6,300. So you get your principal, the employee contribution, you get the employer matching. If you get one-to-one, you automatically double it. And then on top of that, you have tax deferral savings. So for a total of $6,300 at the end. So what we're doing is we're optimizing the employee tax withholding. Our app fixes the W-4 in a smart way, and we direct those funds at the 401k once we fix the W-4. Here's a screenshot of our product. So you can see we got the tax deferral savings thing. This is what the employee sees. So they can see, this is how much I'm going to make on the tax deferral savings. This is how much extra I'm going to get from the employer matching. And then we also show them what that investment looks like over time. So in 10 or 20 years, they can also see exactly what they're going to make. And it's a really big deal because it could be in the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. The market size, there's $250 billion in tax refunds annually in the United States. And there are 54 million active 401k accounts in our country. We're targeting progressive 401k providers. So we charge a license fee to the 401k provider. The end user, the taxpayer, me and you, we don't pay anything. So it's a financial wellness tool that's accessible to everybody. You don't have to pay money for it. We charge a license fee to the 401k provider because they're the ones actually making money on this. We increase their assets under management. That's how they make money, so that's how we make money. So we just ran a research study, and we have a much more pinpointed idea about how much people want to invest in their 401ks from their tax refunds. Turns out it's a lot. We're also running a pilot program at the same time to make a better W-4. So this is the real problem that we have to solve here, is the user behavior side of things, where we're actually trying to figure out what people want to do with that money and making sure that they actually can make the right decision about it user behavior-wise. There are a couple other companies who like to increase 401k contributions. So Alex is a product by Jellyvision. They have a financial wellness tool that basically interactively educates you to figure out what you should do with your 401k. VWise is a user experience tool for 401k providers. It's just a better user interface for them because most of their user interfaces are not so good. Potential competitors, Credit Karma and Mint, they like to make financial recommendations to consumers. None of these companies currently touch on the tax refund problem. So we have a philosophically different approach to the tax refund. The smaller refund is the better refund. Our revenue model is aimed at 401k providers rather than at the taxpayer, and we're first to market on tax refund optimization. This is a really big social problem, a $250 billion a year problem in the United States. We're solving for the tax problem, and we're also solving for retirement readiness at the same time. Andrew, my business partner, manages the operations and sales side of our company. I do the technology and marketing. I've been an employee of 2 technology startups now, one with a successful exit. Back in Austin, we built another thing together that has a lot of happy investors and happy customers. We're non-managing members of that entity now. We got a big team with a broad range of domain expertise. These are all our mentors. We got 26 in total helping us out on this thing. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
I'll start. Again, like great pitch, well done. You kind of mastered the 5-minute format. So congrats on that. It's not easy to do. So the just to dig in, yeah, this concept of optimizing the W4, that's very interesting. So I don't think you can do a lot more there, but just constantly come back to like what that really means. I think I get it, and I totally get the business, but just a little more precision on that might actually get me like more up on the edge of my seat. And that's a very minute comment. Describing or defining what a progressive 401k company is. Like I would love to see examples. Just hear the 4 logos. If it's traditional asset managers like the Fidelities and the whoever's, that's fine. But that would also kind of help just really kind of focus me in on who these issuers are. And then another nit here, but that kind of market sizing slide, total market for tax refunds, if you actually multiplied it by the really what you think is the addressable market early on, I think the only real criticism is it seems like it's still kind of shooting, it's too blue sky, it's a little bit too aggressive, so I'd probably give you a higher level of consideration on seed funding if you demonstrated just a tighter grasp of like, here's really where I want to focus next week, or next month, or next quarter. And that's where we'd probably spend most of our time and diligence would be, okay, like, how are we going to attack that market and try to kind of look at it tops down, bottoms up. And that'd be really it. I mean, otherwise it just feels a little bit too high level right now.
Sure.
So I'd probably kind of hit you with tons of questions around how do those 401k providers look? What are their attributes? And how are you guys going to go attack that market? Because that's pretty much where I think if I put $1 million into this company, that's probably what I want the $1 million spent on, in addition, obviously, the product. But it seems like that first 3 or 4 is going to be so big, like those 401k providers, kind of validating that concept of the W4 is broken.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we're fixing it. So anyway, great job. That's about as all I can come up with.
Thank you.
So I'll go next. Great job on the overall presentation. One thing that left me kind of, my mind was sort of churning, was this idea that $2,800 average refund, right? You've kind of multiplied that with matching and tax benefit to $6,300, so that gets your attention, right? So it's a sizable amount. What is the average? Did you have? What's the average 401k contribution? I mean,
The average 401k contribution for people right now?
Yeah.
It's really variable depending on demographic, so that's one of those things that it's a little bit complicated to explain, so we don't.
I mean, it'd be interesting just to put that in context. Is that about what most people put in, and so you might be doubling it? Just give me a metric like that.
Sure, yeah.
Would size it for me. The piece that confused me, though, was your desire to fix the W-4, because the reason why they're $2,800 tax refunds is because the W-4 is not correct, right?
Yes.
But if you fix it, doesn't eliminate your opportunity to generate revenue. So it seemed like that those joint goals were at odds with one another.
I see, yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing on your go-to-market strategy, right? Your 401k providers, and I was a little confused as to where you were fitting in that whole, like financial engines. Are you familiar with them? So we can talk offline about them. They're founded by a Nobel Prize winner, and they do whole efficient frontier Monte Carlo analysis for individual investors. And the way they did that is they actually went through employers, right? So there's where I was. Are you really doing the 401k providers? Do you really want to go directly to the employers? And how do you actually get to those customers, right? Because ultimately you want to get to the employees. Now, with all that said, I'll throw out a little tidbit. The person that actually runs ADP Ventures is somebody that actually lives here in Charlotte, and if that's interesting, I can help you connect there.
Yes, please.
By the way, I
That's
love
right.
that connection, because that's my first thought was you should be selling to ADP, Total Source, and Insperity. So those are the companies that do that full outsourced payroll. It's like, it just feels more like your target than, I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you guys are completely right
Fidelity,
on that.
State Street, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the human capital management platforms is like a major channel for us that we're going after. We just don't have it as the current part of the pitch. But yeah, good point.
Maybe yeah. I think that's what we're saying is maybe you should on that part, because that just feels like a better integration off the deck.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's where you're going to get people thinking about the W-4 when they're filling it out that first time when they onboard with Total Source or Insperity or whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of everything's been covered, so I'm not going to continue. I thought you did a great job. You know, that whole how you make money. I think that you adjusted your pitch based on feedback we've given other people saying, tell us what you're selling. I thought you did a good job of that. Because your first slide was not tax refunds into 401ks. You said that, and I wasn't sure if you adjusted based on the feedback we'd given previous pitchers. If you did, good job, and if not, well, that's fine too.
Yeah. Thank you.
But along those lines, how you make money, I would like to see earlier. You're defining the problem, but okay, you're not selling to the consumer. You're selling B2B, and you're taking licensing fees. Just very clearly articulate, you know, what is that? And so I think you do need to figure out how do you make it easy to get your product, because again, you might decide to go here, and then later you may want to partner with Credit Karma or Mint, right? Make them a frenemy, not a competitor, because they're not like your current competitors, but those are the people that actually have a lot of money behind them that could obliterate you. But I think that if you're partnering with some of these payroll processing solutions, you're streamlining the process and making it very easy for people to sign in and even not miss their tax refund. That's powerful. But I just like to see that you are clearly articulating up early that you're making licensing fees, because then you get into the product and we're showing a little bit of what the app. It's very clear that you're not selling the consumer off the bat.
Okay.
I thought you did a great job, and I think everything that I don't have anything else to add other than being nitpicky, and that's not really what we need to do at this point.
Well, speaking of nitpicking, I'd like to nitpick.
Go for it.
So I love the theme slot, right? And the fact that you've actually done a startup before and presumably had you had an exit. I would talk a little bit, hopefully that was a good exit, and I would talk about that a little more, right? Because investors love nothing better than to say, hey, I've been there, I've done this before, and I treated my investors really well, right? And then one other, and this is a really tiny little nitpick, but I got to do it.
It's not a nitpick.
It's not a nitpick. Well, this is really a nitpick. I'll involve in the nitpicking. You talked about having 26 mentors.
Yes.
That's just way the hell too many.
They're all here. I couldn't do anything about it.
But your previous exit was with your current founder.
So we partially exited that company. We're still non-managing shareholders. I was an employee of 2 tech startups before. I had a full exit from one of those.
Yeah, I just think it's what Daniel's highlighting is just the fact there's that you've done it together. There's that culture.
Yes.
You've established that, and that is very important.
Okay.
So I'll get to the question, but to the tax refund versus fixing those before, I think what you're saying is you're eliminating the tax refund by reducing the withholding and taking that amount that's been reduced and putting that in the 401k. I think a lot of people don't fully understand tax refunds, and so when they get to that next year and don't get a refund, they're going to think they paid more in taxes by using your product. Do you have a plan for addressing that?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of the product, is trying to address that exact problem, because people get the refund, they want the refund. There's actually like a pretty good number of people who like getting the refund. At the same time, though, most of those people know that they shouldn't be spending it on frivolous things. The entire app that we're building is basically a thing to automatically take care of that for them and explain to them what's going to happen. So that is kind of the core of what we're building.
Along those same lines, I think one of the things you might want to be careful with is that if somebody would have to pay the IRS at refund time, I don't know how predictable people's tax returns are from year to year, but if somebody, God forbid, had to send a check to the IRS when they filed their returns, they would bail out of your program real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we're building in the calculator tool is the buffer zone. So we know that there are certain life events that can occur that will increase your tax refund, or sorry, decrease your tax refund. If any of those things are likely to occur like within the next year, we eliminate those people from the app. More questions?
All right, thanks, Lilipad.
Thank you, everybody.